All right. Awesome. So as we are hopping on and you're hopping on, say hello. Go ahead and put hello, Javi and Marissa in the chat. Just let us know. Okay. Can you hear us okay? Can you see us okay? We want to make sure that we're not talking to ourselves here for the next 30 minutes. So say hello in the chat for all of you, that are behind the scenes, that never like or comment anything, but are always watching our stuff. That's kind of creepy, guys. Come on, say hello. Right? We just want to have a great conversation with you. So let us know if you're here with us. If you are team live, go ahead and put team live in the chat. If you are team replay, go ahead and put team replay so we know that you watch this. Now, who are we? You guys might be wondering, if you're new to the group, especially, we have so many new group members. Like, who are these guys, right? My name is Javi. I'm a physical therapist by trade and the co-founder of Healthcare Business University, now the Practice Revolution, baby. Yeah. And this is my beautiful wife, Marissa Carlin. She's a dietitian. And together, like I mentioned, we're the co-founders of the Practice Revolution, where we help dietitians and nutrition coaches to replace their income, break free from their JOB, and get to the point where they're making 10K plus months consistently in their business, so that they have more security, they feel more confident in their ability to help people, impact hundreds, if not thousands, if not millions of people, and make a lot of money doing it. Why not? Right? And so what are we talking about today?
Today, we're talking about how to give yourself a raise. Who here wants to make more money in their private practice? Just put a me in the chat below and let me know. Because hopefully everyone here tonight, whether you're live, whether you're on the replay, you want to be making more money in your private practice. You want to be impacting more lives, helping more people. Give me a yes if that's you.
Put a big old yes in the chat if you are ready to give yourself a raise. Yes. You get a raise. You get a raise. Let's see who gets a raise. Helen gets a raise. Fernando gets a raise. Who else wants a raise? You got it. You got it. Now, the question becomes then, how do I know when it's time to raise my prices? When do I raise my prices? How do I raise my prices? Is there a critical moment where I know to start to increase my prices? Right? And so we're going to go ahead and share with you 5. Go ahead and put 5 in the chat just so that you get this. Okay. There are 5 critical signs that it's time to give yourself a raise. Are you guys ready?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So I'm curious, before we dive in, before we dive into the first critical sign, what are your current rates right now? What do you currently charge?
Do you do single sessions? Do you do packages? Do you do monthly, pay in full? What does it look like? What does your structure look like right now? And everyone's is going to be a little bit different. Totally fine. Everyone has their own business. But just kind of give us an idea. Maybe we can kind of play with some of your numbers tonight, show you what things would look like if you were just to give yourself a small raise.
Yeah. What does that look like? Is it $50 a session? Is it $100 a session? Is it $150 a session? Do you sell programs, packages where you're charging $1,200? We have some of our clients that charge $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 per person. So there's a wide range here, okay? And if you're on the lower end, don't worry, okay? We all start somewhere, and it's just what most people are used to. Now, if there are other people that are charging much higher rates than you in the thousands, I'm here to tell you there's nothing really that different from what they're doing than what you're doing, okay? All it takes is a little bit of a mindset shift. So if you're open to some mindset shifts that are going to allow you to, number 1, help more people, number 2, make more money, okay? And number 3, give you more flexibility in your ability to travel and do the things that you really want to with the people you care about the most. If that's what you want, go ahead and put, I want that in the chat.
I want that.
I want that, okay? Because this is what tonight's training is all about. Okay, this is what it's all about. And so if you're open to making some mindset shifts, go ahead and put, I'm open. I'm open in the chat.
I'm open.
You're open? Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and get going. Number 1, what is the first sign?
So this one's really silly, really simple. There's no, there's nothing crazy about it. And once I say it, you're going to be like, that's it? Really? Like, you're joking. Okay, here it is. You can feel it. That's it. When it's time to give yourself a raise, you can feel it. Put I can feel it in the chat.
I can feel it.
You can
I
feel
can feel it.
Okay. So it's really hard for me to explain this feeling until it actually happens to you. And I know we have some of our clients on here watching. Okay. And let me know, has this happened to you before too? What typically happens is you make the sale and the client was like, cool, how do I pay? And you're like, that's it? Like, for real? You want to work with me? And they're like, yeah, how do I pay you? Cash, check, Venmo, Zelle, like, what do you take? And you're like, oh, okay. Like, that was easy, right? And then you think to yourself, dang, I should have asked for more. Like, if she just bought my package at that rate, right? Or he just bought my package at that rate, like, what happens if I bumped it up $50, $100? Would they still have bought? Probably yes, right? And so that happens to so many of our clients that we work with. They pick a starting point, and remember, it's a starting point. It's not where you're going to be for the rest of your career, but you pick a price point that you feel comfortable with selling your first package. And I guarantee you, almost every single one of our clients, after they sell their first one, they're like, dang it, Javi, Marissa, I should have asked for more.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah. 100%. You're right.
Yeah. So really, that's it. That's one of the signs. We got 4 more, but the first sign is that you can simply feel it.
How many of you have actually felt that feeling before, right? Where you go through the exact same process that Marissa just outlined, right? You have that conversation with someone says yes, and there's a little bit of like resent in a sense where you're like, dang, I undercharged, like I should have went for more, right? And so that feeling is the first critical sign that you should be charging more, that you should give yourself a raise, okay? Because what will happen is if you don't give yourself a raise at that point in time, you'll start to compound that feeling. And what ends up happening is that it's actually not a good feeling, because then you feel like you don't want to give your clients your best because they're not paying you enough. And then it's kind of like this downward spiral. A lot of people don't talk about this. A lot of people don't think about this. And so when you feel it, go for it. Okay. Even if you feel resistance, especially when you feel resistance to anything, when you're raising your prices, but really to anything in life, you want to go for it. Okay. Because that means you're going in the right direction. That's a direction of growth. All right. So that's critical sign number 1.
All right. So number 1 is you can feel it.
Go ahead and put you can feel it in the chat. You can feel it. Okay.
Awesome. Who's ready for number 2? The second sign.
I'm ready. Let's hear it.
Ready.
Let's do it.
You ready? Are you guys ready? Yeah? All right. So number 2, the second sign for you to be raising your rates is that your competitors are charging more than you. Okay? Your competitors are charging more than you. Now, here's the thing with pricing. The goal with pricing, and this is generalization, but typically what we want to see is that you are pricing your services at least in line with your competitors, or better yet, charging more than your competitors. Okay, so at least in line with what your competitors are charging or more. The biggest thing here that we have to remember is that you do not want to be the cheapest. You do not want to be the cheapest dietitian. You do not want to be the cheapest nutrition coach. You do not want to be the cheapest health coach out there. Okay, put it in the chat. I do not want to be the cheapest, or I'm not going to be the cheapest. Better yet, right? And so when you're selling your services for cheap, right, that may help you get your first couple clients under your belt. Totally fine, not a problem with that. But remember, that's your starting point. That's not where you want to be. And over time, we want to raise our rates. That's what this whole segment is about tonight. Okay. And being cheap in the long run is not going to serve you. It actually does a disservice to you as well as your clients. Okay. Think about it. What happens when you get something for cheap, whether it's a product, whether it's a service? Have you guys ever gotten anything for cheap? Or maybe you've given some of your time for cheap, right? A friend, a family member, right? They wanted some nutrition advice. They wanted some help. What happens when you give it at a very low rate, or maybe even free, right? Free advice. What happens, right? They don't value it. They don't take it seriously. They don't use your advice. They kind of just brush it off like, okay, cool. Thanks, Javi. Awesome. And they go on with their day to day. They don't use it. They don't value it. Okay. And so what happens is it doesn't help them. Being cheap does not help anyone. It doesn't help you. It doesn't help your clients. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, you want to talk about our gym memberships?
Yeah. So I don't know if this has happened to you ever, right? Where you invested in something, right? And because it was so cheap, right, you didn't have a lot of your money into it. You didn't really do anything with it, right? You dismissed it. And so for us, in our specific case, it was our gym memberships. Okay. We actually started at this gym here in the Tampa Bay area called Amped. And in this gym, basically, it's one of those like standard gyms that you go in, they have equipment, you work out and you get out, right? And so the membership is only $10 a month. Okay, super cheap, just $10 a month. And you can use all their equipment, right? It was great. Seemingly, it was great. Now, what happened though was we didn't take it as seriously as we should. So we were a bit inconsistent. When we did go, we were maybe distracted with our phones and we would go in and out, and it was just like, it wasn't intentional, right? And so what we did was, after going to this gym, quote unquote, going to this gym, right, for several months, we realized that we were actually getting out of shape. And it's like, wait a second, what's going on here, right? So not only were we not getting the most out of it, but we actually were getting negative results. Right? We weren't even getting good results. We were getting negative results. Okay. And so what we ended up doing was we ended up ending our membership at Amped, and we went to these other, what are they called? Like boutique smaller gyms that are a lot more expensive. Okay. So Marissa went to this one called Move. I started going to one called Triumph, right? Where the monthly investment was significantly higher. And guess what? Right? During that time span, what happened? Did we start going less or more? Started going more, right? Did we go in with more intention or less? More intention, of course. Did we get worse or better results because we went more? Better results. And it all started because the investment, the price point of entry was higher. And so what does this mean for you? No different for your clients, okay? If someone has, let's say, imagine this, right? Put yourself in this position. You gave, right, Marissa and I, let's say it was $10,000, or in the fitness space, something that's pretty average now is like $3,000 for a program, right? So you gave us $3,000 for a nutrition coaching program, okay? Now, this program, let's say it was 3 months. Okay, so you gave us this money for 3 months. Now you gave us this money. Are you going to do everything in your power to make sure that you attend all the calls, that you do all the things that we tell you to do, right? Even when it's uncomfortable, are you going to make sure that you follow the process? Now, versus paying one session at $100 and that's it. Which one shows that you're more committed? The $3K or the $100 session? Go ahead and put $3K or $100 session. The $3K, of course, because you've committed a larger amount of money and you've committed a larger amount of your time and energy and attention, right? And because you committed all of that, the financial, tool, it's just a tool of exchange, right? Everything else is what's more important here. But because you did that, now what do? You show up more, right? You're more committed, so you show up more. If you show up more, do you get worse or better results? Again, you get better results. If you get better results, okay, are you sad or are you happier? You're happier, of course. If you're happier, do you refer less or more people? More people, of course, right? And so now you're also driving word of mouth, okay? And so by charging more, if that's true, is that true, guys? Does that make sense? Go ahead and put make sense in the chat.
Makes sense.
If that's true, then what you're telling me is when you charge more, people show up more, they get better results, and they refer more. And guess who else is happy? You're happy. right? Because now you're also making more. So it's a win, 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 win for everyone. Okay. And so can you guys see how you actually want to start raising your prices as soon as you can, as quickly as you can, and as high as you can? And there's a progression, of course, right? And that's something that we help our clients to understand, like, hey, when and how does that progression happen? And we're giving you several of those tips here tonight.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll give you guys one more quick example, personal story from when I started my nutrition business down in Miami. In the beginning, I didn't invest in a coach. I was just trying to figure it out on my own. And I got my first couple clients, right? Again, no one taught me, what to charge, how to charge, when to charge. I just kind of did whatever felt right at the moment. And so I reached out to a lot of my friends, family members, and one of my first clients in particular was one of my friends, and it was her parents. It was a husband and wife, and they both wanted to lose weight. And I felt very comfortable working with them. I have known them for a long time, and I was like, sure, not a problem. And because these were people that I've known for a long time, I've been to their house before, I said, not a problem. Like, you only live 10, 15 minutes away from me. I'd be more than happy to come to your house, like do the sessions in person. We can be in your kitchen. We can be like going through your cabinets, looking through your fridge, all that stuff. I could like be with them, showing them how to read nutrition labels. I was like all in, right? And they were super excited about it. But because I didn't know what to charge, I severely undercharged for my services. And at the time, I was only charging about $30 for a follow-up session. For me to drive to their house, spend an hour with them for two people, a husband and a wife, and then drive home. $30. That's it. That's severely undercharging. And there were several times where they canceled on me. There were several times where they rescheduled their appointments. Maybe we had to skip a week or two. Sometimes things just came up that were more important than a nutrition session. Okay. And now her parents got results, but they didn't get amazing results because they weren't consistent. And looking back, right, if I would have known now what I knew back then, I would have charged a lot more than $30 for my sessions because they would have taken it a lot more seriously and gotten even better results. Okay. So that's just like a personal connection that I have to this, but wanted to share that with you all as well.
Yeah. And just to add one final point to that you might not have, caught it, actually charging less and having all this happen to you where they cancel, they reschedule, they know she will not get great results. That also affects you now, because now you start thinking, oh my goodness, there might be something wrong with me. Why do none of my clients get great results? It's not you. You're great at what you do. It's that you're just not charging enough for people to find value in what you're doing for them. And so they don't show up, they don't commit, they don't get great results, and the rest is history. And so this goes way deeper, right? So think about that. It can have a massive effect on people's confidence.
That's a really good point. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So critical sign number 3. Go ahead and put a number 3 in the chat. If you guys are still with us, put 3 in the chat.
3.
All right, here we go.
Right. Can we actually bring up a whiteboard for this? Is that possible or no?
You're throwing a curveball at me here.
I know.
We're gonna have to do it.
Is that whiteboard or no?
We're gonna have to do it with this, so it might be a little bit challenging. But
okay.
But we can try it.
I know you're a techie kind of guy. I figured.
Okay.
Ooh, can we do it?
Let's try it. I mean, I'll try and write with this. We'll see what happens. Fine. Okay.
You don't have to write a bunch of stuff, just a few numbers.
Okay, cool.
Let's see.
Yes.
All right, cool. Look at that. We fancy with the whiteboard now.
Yeah.
Okay, so the reason why I wanted to pull the whiteboard up, make Javi write on the whiteboard here, is because
you can barely write with a pencil. So.
It's just, we're going to put a few numbers. I'm going to throw some numbers out here, and I'm visual, and it's going to help illustrate this point. Okay. And so point number 3, sign number 3 for when you should raise your prices is because the math doesn't add up. Put that in the chat. The math is not adding up. Okay. You're probably like, what math? What are you talking about? Let me explain. So we had a conversation with one of our clients about a month ago, and this conversation changed everything for her. Okay. And this was really, really important. And this has been a mega shift in her business that's going to allow her to leave her job potentially. Okay. And so for her, the math wasn't adding up. Okay. Here's the deal. This client in particular, she works part-time at a job. And so with the remainder of her time, she has her private practice. Okay. And in her private practice, while she's working part-time, she only has the capacity to take on 10 clients a month in her practice, because that is the max amount of time that she has available to her. Okay. And so her goal is to replace her income with these 10 clients that she has the capacity for, so that she can quit her job. You guys following me so far? Give me a yes in the chat. Okay. So we said to her, how much do you need to make in your private practice to feel comfortable to quit your job? And she told us the answer was $5,000 a month. We said, cool. We have a starting point here. So she needs to make $5,000 to quit her job. And we're like, that's awesome. Cool. So let's take a look at this. What are your current prices? And she said, well, I have two programs. My first program is $249, or clients can buy my other program, which is $349. Okay, so $249 or $349. And she said some people choose the $249, some people do the $349. So it's kind of like half and half. And so what we did is we averaged those numbers. We're like, okay, if some people are paying $249 a month and some are paying $349, on average, right? The average of $249 and $349 is $299. Are you guys following me so far? Drop a yes in the chat because I'm doing a lot of math here. So on average, she has one client paying her $299 a month. Okay. But the problem is that she can only take on 10 clients at a time. $299 per client times 10 clients. What does that give her per month? That means that at her max, working her hardest, at her full potential, she can only take on 10 clients at $299 average. That makes her only make $2,990 per month max, working as hard as she can. That is not anywhere near the $5,000 she needs to quit her job. And then we looked at it another way and we said, hey, what if all your clients bought your highest package? What if all 10 of your clients invested $349 a month? Would you be able to leave your private practice? Would you be able to leave your job then? And the answer is still no. Because if 10 people pay her $349 a month, that's only $3,490. Still not hitting that $5,000 mark. So we discovered that this person in particular would be working at her max potential. She'd be busting her butt in her job as well as in her private practice, busting her butt, maxed out on time, working essentially two jobs and not even close to hitting that $5,000 mark. Okay. Is this making sense? Just drop a yes in the chat.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Makes sense.
Makes sense. So what's the key here? The key is to do the math and make sure that your math adds up. So do your math, know your numbers, figure out how many clients you can see per month with the time that you have available, and also determine your financial goals, right? We need those numbers. You need to figure out how much time you have to work on your business per month, how many clients you can take on safely per month, right? And also, what's your financial goal? What do you need to be making? And maybe we don't, start by hitting that financial goal, but we work our way up there, right? By raising our rates. And so you have to work backward from that financial goal to make sure that you're on track to hit your goals. So you can actually escape your 9 to 5.
Beautiful. Can you guys see that? How powerful that is? It's so simple, right? But sometimes without the right perspective, without someone kind of seeing things from a different viewpoint, right? Without someone seeing the big picture of your business, because sometimes we're so caught up into our own life, into our own business, into how we're doing things that we can't see the big picture. And so we work so hard, right? But we don't look at the math, we don't look at the numbers, and we can work hard for 5 years and still not hit our goal. And so sometimes it's beneficial, as you can probably tell by now, to have someone like myself and Marissa take a step back, look at the big picture, and say, hey, it's very clear why you're not going to hit your goal and why you're not hitting your goal and why you're working so hard and not able to move forward. It's because the math doesn't add up. And so for you all right now, I want you to start to understand how many clients can you possibly take at one time in your current situation. And is that going to allow you to hit your goal? Because if the answer is no, then there are only two core things you can do. Okay. The first thing is you can raise your rates. Okay. Up until a point where, you feel that discomfort, you raise it a bit more, and then you can stop there and progressively go higher. Or number two is you buy yourself back more time. Meaning you take more of the time you're working your 9 to 5 if you're still working, and put more of that time into your business so you can take on more clients. Only two options. Both are scary, right? Which one do we recommend? Ideally both, right? You do both, but that's how you have to start thinking so you can make better decisions about where you're at and where you want to go. Okay, so that's critical sign number 3. Now, critical sign number 4. Okay. This is where you are selling like hotcakes. Okay. You have a lemonade stand in a hot Florida sun. All right, Pete, you're on the corner selling your lemonade. People are thirsty. They're walking their pets and they're just like chugging all your lemonade. Okay. Because it's just so good and they're so hot. All right. Selling like hotcakes. You have no objections. Okay. Some people are like, oh, I don't get any objections. I'm amazing. It's like, no, you're not getting any objections because you're so damn cheap. Right. And so that's not the point. The point is you want to get objections because that's how you're able to actually transform people's lives. Easy in, easy out. If it's too easy for people to come into your programs because the price is so cheap, it's going to be very likely that they're going to have an easy out, meaning they're not going to show up and commit and do the work and get results. And so that resistance, those objections that people give you, your ability to move people forward, all right, and to be able to follow up with them despite those objections, when they become a client, they're going to be a much better client because they had to go through some stuff to get your stuff. Okay. And so this kind of ties back to point number 1, all right, which is you can feel it. Because if you feel like it's too easy, if you feel like you're telling people about your services and they're investing left and right and left and right and left and right, it feels great, but it also means that you might be too cheap and it might be time to do what? To raise your rates. Okay. Now, you don't have to raise it to like anything crazy. Like you don't have to jump thousands of dollars, even though you could, because we have our clients doing it all the time. All right. But you can raise it slowly. You can start by increasing it by $25, $50. Okay. If people are buying at $200 a month, do you think they'd buy at $225 per month or $250 a month or even $300 a month? Likely 100%. Okay. And so you can slowly start to raise your rates over time or when you feel it, and you'll find that sweet spot where you can maintain your rates for a while until someone like myself and Marissa come and say, hey, it's time to increase your rates again. Come on. It's getting too easy for you. You need a bit more resistance. You need to, get better results with your clients. And it's all because you haven't raised your rates yet. Maybe you need to become more profitable. Okay. So there's multiple reasons why, like we've discussed, throughout this training, why you would want to raise your rates. So if you feel like you're not having objections, it's not a good thing. It's not something to be proud of. All right. It means you're too cheap. So start increasing those rates. All right. And that's critical sign number 4.
All right. And the last one tonight, sign number 5 for when it's time to raise your rates is the fact that you've been in business for at least 1 year at the same rates. Okay. So if you guys have been in business for at least 1 year with the exact same rates, it's time to raise your rates. Okay. Because the truth is the price of things is always going up. Have you guys heard of something called, what is it? Inflation?
Inflation. Not like a balloon.
Have you guys heard that word inflation before?
Yeah.
Right?
Take that word.
Yeah. Inflation inflation is basically just this general increase in the price of goods and services in the economy. Okay. And so prices of services and goods are always going up. Let's face it, right? Think about it, right? 10, 15 years ago, what was the cost of homes on average, right? What was the cost of gas? I remember, I mean, I don't want to like date myself or whatever, but gas was like $1.50, $2, right? What is it now? It's gone as high as like $5, $6, right? Prices of things are always going up. I remember our first house in Miami. My parents bought it, and it was our first home, a 2-story home in Miami, Florida, very expensive place to live, $75,000 for a 2-story home. That same house today is worth nearly $500,000. It's nuts. It's nuts. Okay. The price of things are always going up. Can you guys name something recently that you've maybe bought into or invested in, and all of a sudden the price went up? For me, I also remember the gym that I went to down in Miami, Orange Theory Fitness. Every single year, I was there for 4 years, and every single year they raised their rates. Every single year. They didn't raise it by a lot. It was like $10, $9, right? But I started at like, $110 a month. By the time I left, it was like almost $150 per month just to go to the gym.
Yeah, I feel like every day we get an email saying, hey, by the way, right, your Slack membership, it's going to go up in a month.
Yep.
Right. Make sure you buy the entire year because the rates are going up. We literally just did it yesterday. Right. What else have you seen got up? What other emails or messages or calls have you gotten from the providers that you currently use? Wi-Fi, phone, etc. Right. Everything's up. Lawn mowing service. We got another one.
Oh, yep.
Hey, prices going up 50 cents. I'm like, you should have raised them higher, but okay.
Yep. For us, we have a rug in the kitchen, or in our dining room. I took it to get it clean. I've been taking it to this place for the past 2 years. It's always been around $60 to get it cleaned. $60. I know. Every time I hand them my credit card, it's $60. Well, last time I went, the guy was like, hey, I know you've been here for a couple of years now, and just want to let you know, due to the price of everything going up, we had to raise our rates too. It's now going to be $81 to clean your rug. What can I do? What can I do? Right? So the price of everything is going up. Okay. But here's another thing to keep in mind. You're not just raising your rates because you want to make more money. Okay. That's going to be part of it for sure. When you raise your rates, you're going to make more money. Okay. But it's not all going to go to you, because here's the thing, right? As you raise your prices, right, you're going to take some of that money and you're going to invest it back into the business to help provide a better experience for your clients. That's the key. Okay. As you grow in your business, as you've been in business for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, you need to grow yourself as a business owner, right? You need to constantly enhance your customer experience, right? Maybe you have to invest in staff. Maybe that means hiring a virtual assistant to help you, to speed things up, to speed the process up, right? To get your clients, a better onboarding experience, right? To get your clients, emails faster or handouts faster, right? Maybe you have to invest in a second coach to help you coach so you could bring more people in, so you can help more clients, right? Maybe you have to invest in your business by investing in software, right? Certain email systems like a website, coaching, whatever it may be, to invest in your business to bring your clients a better experience. Maybe it's investing in other courses, certifications to learn more about a certain subject that you currently help your clients with, or to expand your services to help more people. Okay. So raising your rates, I don't want you guys to think about it as something that's selfish. It's not. Because sure, you're going to get a little bit of it, but most of that's going to go back into the business to help your clients have a better experience.
100%. And so just one last example, right? Even in our programs, we have virtual assistant support now, right? We have someone that helps with the technology, the systems, the integration of all of that, right? We have other support channels that we could only create, right, if we increase our prices, more accountability, more support, right? Live events to bring our clients in person, to get them to introduce each other, network, right? Refer to each other and create an amazing experience. We have softwares where we basically collapse time, speed things up, and get things done much faster. The things that took us 2 years to build, we just give it to our clients, right? And so all of that is only possible because of the constant, the value that we provide. Yes, we increase our prices, but the value that we provide is always way higher. And so we still are able to serve people. We're still able to stay in business. We're able to hire people to continue to serve our clients at an even higher level. Okay. But the value always continues to go up. And so if you can continue to increase your value, then the amount of the price that you can continue to increase, the sky's the limit. Okay. The sky's the limit. So to wrap this up, if you've been in business for a year, selling the same thing at the same price point, it's time to give yourself a raise.
Yes.
Okay. So typically you should raise your prices anywhere between 5 to 10% every year and a half or so. Okay. And so if you are going to commit to increasing your rates, go ahead and say, I'm going to increase my rates in the chat. Write it down.
I'm going to increase my rates.
Decide it, commit to it, declare it, put it out there, and do it. Okay. When are you going to do it? Not next week. You're going to do it now. All right. Do it now. So with that said, quick recap, the 5 critical signs. Okay. Sign number 1.
Sign number 1 is that you can feel it.
Sign number 2.
Your competitors are charging more.
Number 3.
The math doesn't add up.
Number 4.
That you're selling like hotcakes.
And
you're
number
selling
5.
like this. And number 5 is that you've been in business for a year now at the exact same rates.
No bueno. No bueno. So if you're watching this now, we hope this is valuable. This is what we do. We help people increase their rates so they can help more people, make more money, impact the world, and also build a business that they can feel fulfilled by, right? Where you're making a difference. And if you want to make a difference, then you're in the right place. And so we want to extend an invitation to you. If you're currently at a place where you either have no idea what you're doing, you're just starting off, you don't have anything in place, and you'd like to know where to start. There's a lot of information out there. It can get a little bit overwhelming and a bit confusing. Okay. And so everyone's situation is very different. And so for you, depending on where you're at, whether you're working full-time, part-time, etc., whether the type of business model that you actually want to create, okay, there's so many different factors that pertain specifically to you. And so just getting in on all this information that's out there and trying to figure out how to apply it to yourself, it's not going to work. All right. And if it does work, you might get a little bit ahead, but then you're going to get to this point where you feel a little bit stuck. And so if you're just starting off, or you've gotten to that point where you've gained some traction, but now you're feeling stuck, all right, there's a very, very obvious reason why it is. But when you're in the thick of it, you won't know what it is. And so if you want the opportunity for us to take a look at your business, figure out where that bottleneck is, figure out where that gap is, the reason why you're stuck, okay, we'll bring some awareness to that. We'll shed some light on it. And that way you can come up with a better game plan for the second half of this year. Okay. And so with that said, go ahead and comment the word game plan in the chat right now. If you'd like for us to hop on a 15-minute call with you, very quick, there's nothing to buy on the call, even if you wanted to. It's simply for us to see how we can help you, see how we can point you to some other resources that we have in this community. And yeah, just take it from there. So comment the word game plan. Just do it now, because if you try and do it later, you're going to forget. Okay, we'll hop on a quick call, guide you with our best resources, and give you your best next steps, depending on where you're at specifically. Okay, so with that, hope you have a great rest of your evening, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Take care, everyone. Good night.